All right, you guys, like I told you yesterday, you're going to do your notes by kind of making a foldable. So you should all need to get a pair of scissors and some kind of glue stick. So go ahead and pause the video if you don't have these two things, but you should. Okay, so what I want you to do is you're going to cut out the circle. So I'm going to do that now. Again, if you want to pause the video while I'm cutting, you can do that to cut. So I'm cutting out the circle, leaving a little bit of the black spots. So I can have it. Okay. Next, I'm going to cut out kind of like in like a little strips, my diameter. The word diameter I'm going to cut out in a strip. The word radius I'm going to cut out in a strip. And the word circumference. So again, if you want to just stop the video right now and go ahead and do all of your cutting, that is totally fine with me. All right, so last year I know you talked about circles, and today we're going to find the area and circumference of a circle. But in order to do that, we need to know some parts of a circle. Okay, so when you're looking at this circle, the diameter is the distance that is straight across. It covers from one point of the circle or one edge of the circle to the other. So I want you to take your diameter and I want you to glue it so you know the diameter is straight across. The distance straight across is the diameter. Now, the radius is half the diameter, or from the outside of the circle to any center point. There's lots of radii that are through here, but the radius is going to be half of the diameter. So again, we have the diameter and we have the radius, okay? And we have two formulas. We have area formula and we have circumference formula. The area we know is the inside of the circle. The circumference we say is the distance around the outside. A lot of times we refer to these things like we did yesterday as the perimeter, but in a circle, we refer to it as a circumference. So I'm going to put the circumference piece there because it's the distance around the outside of my circle. Now, I have these formulas. I can either glue these formulas in or I can write them. You can do whatever you want. I'm probably just going to cut them out as one big whole, not individually, just so they stick better. But you're welcome to write them if you want in the circle. But you're going to have to know these formulas, okay? And so the formulas right here for the area is pi times the radius square, and circumference is 2 pi r. And let's talk about what we use for pi. Maybe you can even write it over here. And I know you've used pi before, and pi is that never-ending number. So I want you to write that we're going to use pi as 3.14. That's what we're going to use in this class when we type things in our calculator. And if you don't have a calculator, you're going to need one. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. So again, we have all of our parts. We have the diameter, which is the distance across. We have the radius, which is half the distance of the circle. We know the area is the inside and circumference is the distance around. So we need to do some math. It says, if the radius of a circle is 5, then what is the area and circumference? So I'm just going to draw a circle right here to represent it. So they're telling me that the radius is 5. Okay, I should zoom in a little bit, sorry. So I'm going to write down the area formula. Area equals pi times the radius squared. I know that pi is 3.14 times my radius is 5, and I have to square it. Now, 5 squared does not mean 10. It means 5 times 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. So I have 3.14 times 25. And again, you can use your calculator to figure this out. And I got 78.5. It doesn't give me units, so I'm going to put units squared because we know that area is units squared. Now, circumference. I don't have a lot of room. I didn't leave a lot of room for that. So I'm going to put this over here. Circumference is 2 pi r. You can also know it as pi times d. It's the same thing because d is the diameter and the radius is double to get to the diameter. So you can use either one. So I know my radius is 5. So I have 2 times 3.14 times 5. And I know that 2 times 5 is 10. And 10 times 3.14 is 31.4 units. And we don't use squared for circumference, just units. Again, all you're doing is taking these numbers and plugging it in. So the next one says the diameter of a circle is 8. What is the area? Well, again, we know area equals pi times the radius squared. Well, they're giving us the diameter. They're saying the diameter is 8. Well, oh, sorry, guys. See, you can't see this. The diameter is 8, which is straight across. But for my area formula, I need the radius. So if my diameter is 8, how do I find the radius? Well, we know the radius is half of the diameter. So half of 8 is 4. So 3.14 times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. So 3.14 times 16. 50.24 units squared. Okay, our circumference is 2 times pi times my radius is 4, or we could use pi times diameter since we already know it's 8, but it's pi times 8, 25.12 units. So again, our two formulas, the area equals pi times the radius squared, circumference equals 2 times pi times r. And sometimes they're going to give you the diameter. You'll have to cut it in half. Sometimes they'll give you the radius. It just depends. So you need to keep this for your notes. The next sheet you're going to get, I'm looking right now, is you're going to go pick up this sheet. Okay, and I want you to write the formulas in here. Pi times the radius squared, 2 times pi times the radius, or pi times d. It's the same thing. Okay, and some of these I'm going to change a little bit. So it says find the area for each of them. So these ones you should be able to find the area for. Now this one's they actually want you to work backwards, and I'm going to change them just a little bit because I'm not going to be here yet. So when you do this, I want you to change this to I want you to find the circumference if the radius is 12. So you're finding the circumference. So I'll know you watch this video if you change all these. So you're finding the circumference if the radius is 22. Okay, so these ones you're finding the area. These two you're finding the circumference. I'll flip it to the back page. Label these. Area. Where it says circumference, you're finding the circumference. I'm going to give you the radius is 32. Area, radius is 100. Radius is 22. Area. So wherever it says circumference, you're finding the circumference, and pretend that this is the radius. Okay. So for this one, we can do this one. You should find the area. Let's find the circumference down here. So circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. So 2 times 3.14 times 12. So I know it's 24 times 3.14 gives me 75.36 centimeters. And I'll have an answer key so you can check this with the sub. You need to do the front and back and get that checked with the sub. And then this is going to be your homework. It's pretty self-explanatory. Find the area of all these, it says. Find the circumference. And then on some of these, you have to work backwards, which I know you can do. So right here, it says find the radius. Okay, well, they're giving me the circumference. The circumference is 62.8. And we know circumference equals 2 pi r, or pi times d. Let's just do pi times d. So circumference is pi times the diameter. So we know the circumference is 62.8 equals. We know pi is 3.14. We don't know the diameter. So I got to solve for the diameter because it wants me to find the radius. But first I need to solve for the diameter. How do I go about solving for this diameter? Well, this is solving equations. It's one step. How do I get d by itself? 3.14 times d. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3.14. So 62.8 divided by 3.14, the diameter is 20. Well, they're asking us for the radius. If the diameter is 20, we know the diameter is all the way across, then the radius is going to be 10. So we're just working backwards. You always write the formula down and plug in to see what you have. Okay? I'm going to have you skip right now 21, 22, 24. Because I'll show you those on Tuesday, because Monday we have the PSAT. So this you need to finish for homework, okay? And that needs to be turned in for Tuesday. So again, you're going to do the notes first, then you're going to do this sheet, and then this. And again, I will leave answer keys for the sub. So if you want to check yours to make sure that they're correct, feel free to do that. Please make sure you are working hard and not wasting mine or anybody's time. If you need something, shoot me an email. I'm just at a meeting. I should be able to look at my emails. Have a great day, you guys.